Be sure to subscribe for more content.
What is up, ladies and gents? Welcome to the BigBC Finance Channel, and I hope you're having a very lovely day today. So in today's video, we're going to be talking all about Crypto.com and their coin Crow, what has happened to its price recently, and where we predict the price to go to in the near future, as well as just weighing in all the news around Crypto.com and whether they're going to make it or not. So be sure to stay tuned for all of that. And of course, if you appreciate the daily analysis on this channel and you're one of the 88% of people that watch my videos that are not yet subscribed, be sure to hit the subscribe button if you like this content. So without further ado, let's jump into the charts and talk about what is happening. So Crow is Crypto.com's exchange token, and basically it has suffered like the rest of cryptocurrencies, but what makes this one interesting is that it has suffered a little bit more than all the other exchange tokens. So of course, as we know, FTX drama did unravel, and it unraveled around about this time here. So this was Crypto.com, this was Crow before that FTX drama came out. This was Binance's tweet saying that they were selling a stake in FTX, and from there it has been a nightmare for Crow holders as the price of the token has just plummeted. So from their high of the start of last week to their very low, they plummeted 57%. So, but from the very bottom here of 5.5 cents, we did actually pump to around 7.5 cents. So if you did manage to catch that, that would have been a 37%-ish trade here on Crow. So there's still opportunities to be made if you are trading. And of course, if you did catch that, then congratulations. But basically, we're going to be talking about the long-term prospects for a second here on Crow. And at the moment, we're down a total of 57% on Crow. Now, if we compare that to Bitcoin, for example, we can check Bitcoin to see in the same time frame how much it's dropped. And the low from the high is 25% drop on Bitcoin. So that is just for reference. If we go to another exchange, say KuCoin, for example, we can see that in the same time frame, the drop here from the high to the low was still 45%, but less in Crow's 57%. Again, we can get another exchange just to show you. So Gate, another crypto exchange, and we can see that Gate dropped to a low here of just 30% there. So of course they still look like they could drop further, but in the same time frame, Crow dropped the furthest. And of course, I do think that is a testament to the trust for Crypto.com. Of course, if you go on their Twitter, if you go on the official Crypto.com website and everything, they've given the proof of reserves, and they say that they're holding customer funds one-on-one. They don't engage in lending out customer funds. They don't use leverage to run their business operations. And in their AMA, they said Crypto.com is here for the long run and they're going to survive. So whether they're going to make it long term is really down to whether you believe in Crypto.com. Now, if Crypto.com is sponsoring the World Cup as well. So of course, the good news about that sponsor is that it's going to bring awareness to Crypto.com, and it should push the price of Crow up. But of course, if anything were to happen to Crypto.com, you know, if they had to pull out of the deal, for example, because it was too expensive and they could no longer sponsor the World Cup, then that would reflect very, very badly. And I think that could push the price of Crow further. So there's some issues on that front. Now, some other issues as well. Some other red flags that have come up is with their Visa cards. So again, there's been some trust issues with Crypto.com because a lot of people, I remember, buying their Crypto.com Visa card, staking the amount to get the rewards. So the first Visa card that gave some decent cashback rewards, you had to stake around $400 worth of Crow, and so the trust issues came from when they suddenly cut the rewards on that Visa card there. They slashed the cashback rewards. They started introducing extra fees that weren't there before, and that plummeted the price of Crypto.com's coin from this level at near 40 cents down to 16 cents. Now, of course, all of that wasn't just down to cutting the rewards, but it did start it off at the beginning of May there. And of course, there was some trust issues in that front. And for a lot of people, I think that was the first red flag for Crypto.com for them. And of course, another one really comes from more recently that $400 million of Ethereum was accidentally sent to the wrong address. And that's not my words, that's their words. They said they accidentally sent $400 million worth of Ethereum to Gate.io's exchange. And of course, they did manage to retrieve it, but they didn't retrieve the full amount. Because of the price of Ethereum fluctuated in that time frame, Crypto.com actually lost out some money because they accidentally sent crypto to the wrong address. So that's another red flag in the grand scheme of things. which makes me still have trust issues with it in the long run. But in all honesty, if you do believe in Crow long term, then it could be a really good investment at this point. It's only 6 cents, and if it makes it back to its all-time high, for example, then that could be a 15x on your money if you had invested it right now. Of course, even if it doesn't get there, but it gets to some major resistance levels, say at this 20 cents region, that's still a good return on your investment. And of course, the risk is very subjective. It definitely could go lower, but there seems to be some reasonable support for Crow at the 5 cents level. So your risk is probably like a 20-30% downturn if you do believe that support to be true, and the upside, particularly if you have a long-term investing horizon, is pretty good for Crow. So on that front, if you do believe in crypto.com, now is probably not a bad time to jump in. So that's kind of like the long-term prospects that I wanted to talk about on crypto.com. My only personal investment here in crypto.com is that stake that I put in November 2021, and I've just left in there because I was like, okay, I'm either going to take it out when I'm massively in profit here on crypto.com, or if it goes to zero. And those are the only two scenarios that I was going to take that out. It's money I didn't need. So that's my only investment there in crypto.com's coin Crow. But looking at Crow on the shorter time frames, basically what we can see is it's just kind of been in a pretty harsh downtrend from the moment FTX blew up. So of course we can draw a trend line that looks a little bit like this, and of course looking at the short-term time frame to see if we can find any cool trading opportunities. So of course I've just shown you that 37% pump from the bottom to the top, and if we were able to manage to trade that would have been absolutely amazing. So we just want to look out for more opportunities like this, and of course the first opportunity will come from the price crossing this trend line. So of course, with any trend line that's been tested a lot of times, it becomes a reliable trend line that when the price does manage to cross through it, becomes a really big event. So at the moment, price is going in this downtrend that it has been for the past week. And if Crow was able to do something like this, for example, come up to this trend line and then break through it, this would be a good area to place a long trade, because when it breaks through this trend line, we expect an increase in volume and an increase in momentum. So if we do see that, then the chances are we should see prices go in the upwards direction like this. So that would be a good area to put a long trade in my personal opinion. Another good area where I think I will be placing a limit buy order is this region again. So if I get my horizontal line out, I'm going to draw a support at this region here at 5.6 cents, because you can see price came down to touch it 3 times in this region. It did slip below, but this support line in purple here has basically held the price up pretty well in this region. So it looks like there is a strong support at 5.6 cents. If I do go back in history as well, back into 2020, I've already circled it here, but you can see that it was actually a reasonable support in this area as well. There's twice it came down to this level, slipped down just a little bit a few times here, but basically held the price up pretty well in this area over here as well. So several times that this purple line has been tested as a support, and price generally tends to bounce off of it. So if we put a buy order for Crow at 5.6 cents, the chances are the price can bounce off it once again, and we can profit off that trade. So that's the second thing I'm looking at. I'm looking at this trend line break here. So if the price does manage to cross that, I'll be looking at placing an order, placing a trade, and if the price gets down to this 5.6 cents level once again, then I'll be looking to place a long trade from there as well. Now of course the price target for me of any breakout of this yellow resistance that we have here is this distance between the support that we have, that purple line, and the test of this resistance here. And wherever we break out, this would be my price target. So if we break out to the upside in just a few hours time, for example, then we could expect the price not in one swift motion. I'd expect it to do something a bit more like this. For example, I'll be looking at the ultimate price target there of 8.8 cents on Crow. So that's if we break out there, but if we break out a little bit further, then the price target is dynamically adjusted to wherever we break out. So that's something I'm looking for. That is my price target, and that is the distance between this test here, so 5.6 cents, to this region here on the yellow line. And that's how you can measure it and find it out yourself if you have trading views. So that's one thing. So that's the price targets I'm looking out for. Additionally as well though, I'm looking out for areas where we could encounter some resistance. So I'll be taking some partial profits, particularly in this region here where there's been a lot of consolidation, where the price has found a support and resistance in its past. So if the price does manage to come up to the upside, then I'll be taking certain profits in this region here. So let's say we break out on this side. I do expect there to be some resistance, so price might hover in this area a little bit. So I'll be taking partial profits before our final price target at 8.8 cents. So this is one level I'm looking at where I do believe we could encounter some resistance. Another level I do think we could encounter quite a bit of resistance is this level we're in right now. So this bit I'm also looking out for. So let's say the price does dip further on Crypto.com's coin, so it gets down to there, and we break out like this, for example, of this yellow line. Then again, I do think we're going to encounter quite a lot of resistance at this level. And that's just because in its history, you can see that it's been an area of support and resistance quite a few times. So that's kind of what I'm looking for here on Crypto.com. And I do think things are looking slightly promising for a potential trend reversal here. So at the moment, like I said, we're going in a very bearish trend, but hopefully in the future, if we're able to break this trend line, then we could be seeing a more sideways or bullish direction, particularly in a direction that looks like this. And one of the key pieces of evidence that I use to support that is this MACD indicator. So this is an indicator that shows us the momentum. Basically, the more positive or more negative the value, the more momentum there is. And we can use it to look for divergences. So basically, a divergence is a good way of hinting at a possible trend reversal. And basically, I already see a divergence being set up. And this comes from the fact that if we draw a trend line connecting the bottoms here on Cronos price, we can see that the price between the test of this trend line up here and the test of the trend line down there declines. But on the MACD, we can draw the same trend line just as we do on the price to connect the lows on the MACD line here, and basically that's going in a bullish direction. So the trend line on here from the first bottom to the second bottom is going in a bearish direction, but on the MACD it's going in a bullish direction over the same time frame, and that is a bullish divergence. It basically suggests that the momentum, the downwards momentum, was stronger here on the first bottom here than it was on the second bottom. So the bearish momentum is starting to dissipate, and that's the kind of interpretation we get from a bullish divergence. And it suggests that we could see a change of trend in the near future because the downwards momentum is dissipating. So this is one of the signs that tells us that we could be seeing something that looks more like this or even more like this in the near future. So that's pretty cool to see on the MACD indicator. Of course, it's not a buy signal in itself. And to accompany that, I'd be looking for a break through this trend line with an increase in volume and momentum in order to consider a buy. And of course, on top of everything, I'm looking at what Bitcoin and the general cryptocurrency market is doing, because, you know, if Bitcoin makes a bullish or bearish move, it's going to have an impact on what Crow does as well. It's going to have an impact on what altcoins such as Crow do. So if Bitcoin makes a bullish move, we should see a similar bullish bias here on Crow. It's going to be a lot easier for Crow to make the same bullish move. But if we see Bitcoin going bearish into the 15,000s, for example, then it's going to be extremely hard for Crow to be bullish. So I'm basically watching this here on Bitcoin, this kind of triangle formation. If we see a breakout to the upside of this triangle, then I expect Crow to follow suit and make more bullish moves here, so possibly break through this trend line into the upwards direction. But if we see Bitcoin break below the support line that we have, then I expect Crow to fall further, maybe even break below 5.6 cents. Now, of course, what I'm doing is constantly monitoring this, so if the price comes close to our trend line, I'll be looking for that increase in volume, increase in momentum if it were to cross this trend line, and same for the support line at the bottom down here as well. So pretty tense times here on Bitcoin. It looks like there is a period of consolidation. It's kind of like the calm before the storm. It does feel like something big is going to happen here in the near future, since it's been relatively calm over the past few days since this massive drop. So we should get some price action here on Bitcoin, and that should help Crow make its mind up whether it's going to break this downwards trend into a more sideways or upwards direction, or if we're going to lose that 5.6 cent support. And if we do lose that 5.6 cent support, then we're going to head much lower. But because this has been the lowest price Crow has been in a very long time, then there isn't really many support levels below 5.6 cents. We could head down to 4 cents, even 3 cents, even 2 cents. So if we do break below this level at 5.6 cents, I will be placing a short order, betting that Crow will continue to fall in price. So those are the trades I'm really looking to make here. Those are some price levels and some resistance lines that I'm looking at. And that's pretty much all I have to say about Crow. Of course, in terms of long-term investing here on this coin, it really just down to whether you believe in Crypto.com as a company. After doing all your due diligence, do you think that it has a bright future ahead? And if so, this could be a very good investment. After all, they're doing a lot of advertising. They're sponsoring the World Cup, which I think is a very, very big deal. So that could be very bullish. But at the same time, if you think they're going to suffer a liquidity crisis, just like FTX did, then definitely do not invest here. So that's what I have to say. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Do let me know in the comments if you're holding any Crow. But otherwise, I'll see you in my next video.